All right, welcome back to the channel. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, The Lonesome Crown, all published by Simon & Schuster Saga Press. Today I am going to be reviewing Walter Mosley's The Second Easy Rawlings Mystery in Walter Mosley's Easy Rawlings Mystery series, and it's called A Red Death. Maybe you saw my previous review of Book 1, Devil in a Blue Dress. If you didn't, just go ahead and type Devil in a Blue Dress, Brian Lee Durfee, into your search, and the video will magically appear upon your YouTube. As for The Red Death, you know we always review the covers. We always review the covers, and look at this. This is a cover done by John Jinks. He did the other covers in the first. So far, I've only got the first 3 books in the Easy Rawlings series. Eventually, I'm going to get the other 10 or 12 or so, some odd that are in the series. But right now, I've only got the first 3. I like them. I love the first one. I love the second one. So I'm going to get the rest of them. And these covers are dope. I mean, they all look really cool. They've got like that minimalistic feel to it. These books are all set in the late 1940s, early 1950s. And so that really gives you a feel of what we're doing here. They're set in Los Angeles. And they star Easy Rawlings. Here's the thing, folks. When I read books like mysteries, especially mysteries and thrillers, I never read the jacket copy first. I just launch into the book without knowing what it's about. I just want to be along for the ride and the mystery and the thriller and whatever. So why am I doing book reviews? Because I'm kind of spoiling it for you. I'm kind of like a hypocrite here. I'm just like I don't like to know anything about a book before I start reading it, but yet here I have a channel where I tell people a lot of things about books before they start reading them. Makes no sense. Nothing in my life has ever made sense, people. Nothing, not ever any. Well, here's the thing. I launched into this book not knowing anything about it. Same with most of all the other mysteries that I read. And I'm just along for the ride. And man, this thing was cool. I did not know where it was. I should have guessed from the cover that it was going to be an expose on socialism, communism, and the McCarthy era of Hollywood. You know, if you know anything about the McCarthy era of Hollywood, it's when there was a lot of cancel culture back then, where people were calling each other communists and socialists and just canceling them. You know, now it has all come full circle in that today's day and age. So much canceling. I hate it. And you can tell that in this book, Walter Mosley hates it too, and he really takes a stand against it. And things like that. And so one of the things that before we get into what this book is about, it's got some great, you know what? I'm already going to go against what I'll just read, since I'll read the jacket copy to you. In A Red Death plunges Easy Rawlings deep into the political, legal, and moral tar pits of Los Angeles in the early 1950s, when red baiting and blacklisting were official policy and racial tensions boiled. So, you know, what happens is he's given this deal. He's got a tax debt. I'm not going to read it word for word. He's got a tax debt, or so he thinks, or so the IRS tells him. The IRS tells him, you got a tax debt, you need to pay it back. And Easy Rawlings is like, I don't think I got no tax debt. And they're like, no, you got a tax debt and you need to pay us back. And then they're like, but rather than pay us back, we'd rather you be a spy for us, because we want to root out all the communists in Hollywood. So you need to go be a spy for us and tell us who the communists are. That's kind of the way it is. So he cuts a deal with the FBI to infiltrate the First African Baptist Church and spy on a former Polish resistance fighter suspected of stealing U.S. defense plans. You know, meanwhile, his life becomes, his love life is all a mess. And, you know, he's got his friend Mouse, who kind of follows him around and helps him through some things. So what's happened here is Easy Rawlings is sort of set up, because he's innocent. He doesn't owe taxes to anybody. But yet the IRS is kind of framing him, right? And so that's where the story starts. And he gets embroiled in all of this, what's called red baiting back in Hollywood, where it was just like, Now it's like cancel culture is now. Like everybody's a Nazi now. Everybody, if you don't believe what the left wing is, you're all a Nazi, and we're gonna. If you don't believe everything that the liberal agenda says, we're gonna cancel you. Like Gina Carano gets canceled. I'm not saying any of this. I'm not taking a point because I'm not taking a side, because certainly the conservatives have done their share of cancel culture too. Wanting to ban Dungeons and Dragons and heavy metal music and God knows everything else that's wonderful and joyful in life. It seems like the conservatives wanted to shut that shit down a long time ago. So all sides are guilty of this fucking bullshit. So, and you can tell in this book, A Red Death, that Walter Mosley is sick of it too. And so he sets this story back in the McCarthy communist-fueled, it's called red baiting. Now, let me read it. There's some great passages in here where Easy Rawlings is trying to explain communism to some people. It's just some of this stuff is just great. So what's a communist? A kid asks him, what's a communist? And Easy Rawlings says, the communist is the kind of man who thinks he can make things better by tearing down what we got here in America and building it up like what they got in Russia. The little kid opened his eyes and his mouth as far as he could. You mean they want to tear down Mama's house and Mama's TV? Take it all right out of America? That's the kind of world a communist wants. Nobody owns anything. It's like this here TV would be for everybody. What? The kid jumped, balling up his little fists. Le Marquis, his mother shouted. What's gotten into you? What, a communist to come in to take our TV? Time for you to go to bed, boy. No! I mean, that's a very simplistic way to spell communism to a kid. There's another great passage in here where Easy Rawlings is with the tax people that are accusing him of owing a lot of taxes. And he knows he's innocent. He knows he don't know shit. And there's this great line in here that's like... Oh, wrong page, folks. Let's go over here. Okay, here we go. We're on point here, folks. Okay. So, I didn't want to start the conversation, Easy thought. I had taken the position of an innocent man, and that's the hardest role to play in the presence of an agent of the government like the IRS. It's even harder if you are really innocent, because I am. Police and government officials will always have contempt for the innocent. They are, in some ways, offended by an innocent man. I mean, that's boils it down in a nutshell, this communist stuff. I mean, this book is great noir fiction told, and if you followed my review of Devil in a White Dress, you know that Easy Rawlings is this ex-World War II soldier in downtown Los Angeles. He's black, he's African-American, and he gets embroiled in these mysteries and different situations, but he's black. He's a tough guy, but he can't act like a tough guy in the culture, because he knows that a black man acting like a tough guy in this culture will get himself really killed really fast. And so he's always like tap dancing around and sidestepping. And it's not until he can get people alone that he can really be a badass, He can't do it in public. Not like Jack Reacher just walks into town, starts kicking the shit out of everybody. Easy Rawlings has got to take it a little more subtly. That's what I love about this series. It's mystery. It's a tough guy that can't really be a tough guy. And you can see it's eating at him because Los Angeles is mostly white people, and he's outnumbered, vastly outnumbered. And so it's like a real good twist on black and white relations as they relate to, the white tough guy can just go in and kick the shit out of people and people are he's a white dude, it's okay. The black guy can't really do that, especially not back in this time. And that's just such an interesting dichotomy that's just created in these Easy Rawlings stories. And I really enjoy the frustration that our man Easy feels. And, I start to feel it for him, You start to empathize with the situation. you understand that things are different when, especially back in the day, and it's still to this day somewhat like that. I mean, we've made strides, but anyway, back in the day, it was awful, awful, awful. You just did not want to be pulled over by a police or even talk to the police back in the day. And I know that it's difficult for, the whole Black Lives Matter thing, and this is like a precursor to all of that, and I think it's great. I do think that Walter Mosley points that out, and it's still to this day, I've got friends that are African American, and yeah, they get pulled over by the police. It's a lot different for them when I get pulled over. I get pulled over, 10 minutes later, I got my ticket, I'm on my way. For them, it's like an hour-long ordeal. I'm not saying, because I work in law enforcement. So I just want to make sure that I understand both sides of the story, and this is one thing that I like about reading books from different perspectives, because we can empathize and sympathize, and we can understand. That's what these books mean to me, and I highly recommend them. I can't remember what I gave Devil in a Blue Dress. This is a good 8 out of 10.